how can I bring to you the same energy that I had for that 4 days intensive session in the UPW? And fortunately, Tony Robbins actually published a video which is about 8 minutes, and this will give you a glimpse of what happened on those 4 days. So I have opened that video and I'm going to share, and want all of you to just experience the energy, experience the number of people. And once we cover the video, I'm going to start sharing what are the 10 lessons that I learned. Fair deal? So let me share my screen.
Welcome to Birmingham UPW 2023!
Breakthrough time. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome to the stage, Tony Robbins! 1, 2, 3, go! Let me hear you! Oh, yes! 3.5 years later, we're back! We have 12,000 people, about 10,000 here, about 2,500 online around the world. Part of what we want to do in the next few days is take back control. Because the problem is we don't experience life. We experience the life we focus on. If you and I want to have an extraordinary quality of life, then you have to understand what creates the quality of your life. Because whatever you focus on is what you're going to feel. Focus equals feeling. Feeling equals life. The quality of our lives is the quality of our emotional home. The emotions that we have anchored to go back to. And we all find a way to get back to them. Whether they're good or bad doesn't matter, because with a change in emotions, you'll change your actions. Change your actions, you'll get new results. The quality of your life has nothing to do with what's happening around you. There's two worlds to master, the external world and the internal world. Because if you can master what's going on inside of you, you can handle anything in the external world. Where are we now? Winter. But your season doesn't have to be the same as everybody in your culture. Followers follow the culture. Leaders create their own culture. And you get to decide what you're going to lead yourself to be here in the next few days.
I think I need to let go of some negative patterns. I need to let go of the fear.
Focus on where you want to go, not on what you're afraid of. So what you're doing is increasing the probability of success anyfold. Success without fulfillment is the ultimate failure. The only way we're fulfilled as human beings is you must grow and you must give. What you give defines who you become as a human being. What shapes our life is not our circumstances, no matter how good or bad they are. The thing that actually shapes your destiny is your decisions. Are you willing to live in a beautiful state every single day of your life, no matter what? Or are you going to let your entire life's quality be conditioned upon the environment? Everything is happening for you, not to you, but it's your job to figure out how it's for you. Now we're going to show you how to walk on fire. Step number 1 is you walk at a normal and direct pace. We're going to do the board break, ladies and gentlemen. Momentum comes from certainty. Why settle on hope when you can snap into this state anytime you want? And the more you do it, the more you identify with it, the more it becomes you, the real you.
Human momentum is forward motion with emotion. Meaning when you're moving in a direction, the more emotion you have attached to it, the more you're going to continue to do that. So we've got control of how we feel at any given moment in an instant.
If you haven't got energy, nothing works. Everything is effort if you don't have energy. But you get in life what you obsessively focus on 24 hours a day, 7 days a week for a good couple of years. You consistently focus on something with skills and tools for a long, long time, and lo and behold, what shows up is great physical health.
It's the only thing that changes your life long term is a change in your standards. Change your standards, change your life. And if you want the extraordinary life you deserve, You have to make the distinction between different levels of standards. There's something above excellence. Oh yes. I'm trying everything, working day and night. There's nothing left in me. Bullshit, there's nothing left in you. There's always more. And if you find that more, the rewards are beyond your wildest imagination. All the rewards are just 2 millimeters above in a place called outstanding, ladies and gentlemen. So what's the worst consequence that would come from believing for years that I'm too young?
I think you could end up being frozen and alone.
Destroy your self-esteem and your confidence and your ability to take action, which then compounds and it stacks.
He's missing out on an extraordinary life for himself.
Actually destroy your confidence because you victimize yourself and you never make a decision. So you never actually get to live the life that you actually wish to live because you're compromising everything, constantly evaluating, and you're basically dead because you're in your head.
My belief is that I can't stick with a routine because I'm on the road.
She wants to be successful and be loved for being hardworking, but also get someone who can take her thoughts away from that and let her be a human every now and then. I want you to see where they are in the room and go back to each one of them and get one referral, and I want you to book one coffee minimum with somebody within the next week. Are you up for that?
Yes.
Give her a hand, ladies and gentlemen.
Calm down then. Tony's not here anymore. He's out there now, bench pressing while asleep, building an orphanage. Fed 5 billion people, some of whom probably weren't even hungry. What's tomorrow, your graduation? I want you to go, and then cut your hand off and kick it out of window. Unleash the psychopath within.
Our greatest seasons of what we think are setback are actually our greatest setup.
I'm just going to encourage you, care more, serve more. Maybe this sounds like a big word, love more. Love your client, love your coworkers, love the product, the service you provide on another level because people will feel it. And in times of uncertainty, they'll go to where they feel the best.
The only way to live longer that I know is to be healthy. So if I can do this, you can do it too, and you'll see immediate benefits, and you'll thank yourself that you made the changes.
You see, you can get far better results from using food than you can from drugs.
This life is the gift. Decide to be the champion of your own life in every single moment. Because now, right now, is the time for you to claim your magic. Step into your power and shine your magnificent light in this world.
This is your true life. This is your true self. This is your higher self. Something more than anything that could ever happen to you. It's more than anything that could ever happen. It's the only thing that's eternal. And it can't be marred by the mind. It's your spirit, it is your soul, it is your true self. Touch your heart and feel it's in you, as you, because this is the real you.
How many of you are now inspired to attend Unleash the Power Within? Type me in the chat. 4 days. I remember I went on Wednesday night. I had absolutely no idea what is going to happen. I probably knew 1 or 2 person there, probably somebody who booked my ticket, another coach, and that's it. And when I went there, I saw this huge hall. You would have seen the hallway there. There were not 1,000, not 2,000, 8,000 people in the same room. And then there were another 4,000 people joining it virtually. I have never experienced anything like that in my life of 38-39 years that I've been here. And the only thing that kept me going is what can I bring to my community? What can I share with my community? It's great I'm learning, but what can I bring here? And that is where I said I am going to share my 10 lessons with you. So let's get started. I have created.
That's just crazy. What happened? All of this will go in.
Let's get started. I'm going to share my mind map with you. So the first lesson that I learned from there, and that is a concept called the success cycle. A lot of us want to be successful. A lot of us want to go through to the next level, But what does it take to go from what is the potential to the actual success? And Tony Robbins talk about these 4 cyclical things that happens when you want to become successful. The first thing is you need to have the potential. If there is no potential, it's like the barren land. If you don't have potential, nothing can happen. But having potential is not enough, because if you have potential, then you need to do the second thing, and that is to act. Even if you have the most fertile land, but if you don't sow the seed, there will not be any crop. So the second thing, which is part of this success cycle, is the action. How much are you willing to take action to go to where you want to go? And lead to that third one is the results. Now when you take action, that's when results start to show up. And the fourth one is the most crazy one. Because what happens is when we start something, a lot of us have self-doubt. A lot of us have imposter syndrome. A lot of us feel like it's not for me, I can't do that. And a lot of us waste a lot of time in thinking that maybe I can't do that, maybe I can't act on that, maybe I can't get the result. But the real results comes when you start taking action, and that's where you get this feeling of certainty or belief. And what happens is it is a cycle. So once you get a little bit of belief, then you get little bit more potential. Then you get little bit more potential, you take little bit more action. You take little bit more action, it takes to little bit more results. And that's how the cycle goes on and on. So if you want to become successful, the biggest mantra is realize your potential and start taking action. The second lesson that I learned, and that is what he talks about, it was towards the end of day 1, and he said, I am giving you a crash course on psychology. Now, how many of you are interested in psychology? Many of us are interested. I see Anushka's hand. Awesome. And he said this is based on his decades of learning, decades of experience, and he's put all of this down into 3 elements. The first element is called figuring out what is it that is stopping us from moving forward. So open your mic, unmute your mic, and tell us, what do you think is that stops us from moving forward? Anyone?
Fear of judgment.
Fear of failing.
Fear of failure.
Fear of failure. Okay. Fear of judgment. Okay.
Yes.
Afraid
Fear
of
of
trying new
judgment.
things.
Okay. Very nice.
Afraid
Actually, yes. Go ahead. Yes.
Yeah, afraid
Lack
of trying.
of confidence.
Lack of confidence. Yes. You were saying something?
Yeah, afraid of trying new things.
Afraid of trying new things. Okay. Last call. Anyone? All right. So what stops us from moving forward? Most of you are right. Is the fear. And there are different elements to fear. And fear, there are 2 types of fear, he says, that stops us from moving forward. The first one is we are not enough. And if you look at whatever answers people gave it, that were all related to that. Lack of confidence, fear of not being enough, fear of this and that. So that's the first one, that we feel that we are not enough. We don't have what it takes to become successful. So that's the first one. But there's another one, and that is we are not loved. How many of you felt that, okay, it doesn't make sense to go somewhere because nobody bothers whether I come or not, whether I should join here for the mastermind session? No, I'm just kidding. Everybody loves here. You can continue to come. Those are the two deepest fear that we have that stops us from moving forward. Number one, we are not enough. We don't have enough knowledge, we don't have enough confidence, we don't have enough resources, money, whatever it is. Ultimately it is we are not enough. And the other category is we are not loved. Nobody likes me, nobody loves me, who will care for me? That is all this. So that is the first principle that he calls about the practical psychology, what stops us from moving forward. The second one is, what is it that controls and determines the quality of our lives? And when he talks about that, there are only one and only thing, that is our emotions. Now, how many of you agree that even if you not have all the resources, but if you are emotionally charged, if you are feeling happy from inside, it is much better than living in a big palace but feeling deeply lonely and stressed? How many of you agree that? You can raise your hand. So our emotions determine and control the quality of our life. And he talks about that how can you actually create any emotion. And he talks about a triad, a triangle, as he said, and three things that you can do to create your emotion. Number one is your physiology. Now, how many times you have noticed that when you are angry, you start shouting, or when you are sad, you lower your voice? And he says that if that happens, you can actually reverse. A lot of times when we are fearful, when we are scared, our hands come like this. We start to shrink. But if we do the reverse, we keep our shoulders away, we stand tall, we look straight, our mind perceives us that no, something is wrong. I think I should not be fearful, I should not be scared, I should actually be confident. You would have heard that, right? The power posing and Superman pose and all of those. This is immediately, or you can say this is correlated to the part which is called the physiology. If you control your physiology, you can control your emotions. Number two is the focus and beliefs. And you would have seen in the video, and this was happening on the day one, he asked us to do an exercise, and let me just show you. We got this big workbook to work. It's around 104 pages in there, and there were so many exercises to do. It was complete intense session, and towards the end of the day one, he asked us to start listing down our limiting beliefs, 3 limiting beliefs. And then you would have seen the video, there was a guy with the cap and specs, and he was talking about he was having a lot of anxiety, and then he did that live over there where he changed his focus from what he was lacking to what he was going towards. So if we change our focus from what we don't have to what we have, what we can't do to what we can achieve any emotion, and in turn we can achieve success. So that is the second part that he talked about. The third one is language you use and meaning you create. And it is a very powerful thing if you notice clearly, and I'm just referring to my notes right now. He said that when we are generally distressed or not stressed and not in a good mood, we do 3 things, which is distort, delete, and generalize. Now, we will not talk about the truth. We'll distort that. No, if this is good is happening, it's only for certain period of time. This is not for that. Or you'll generalize that this thing always happens to me. I always get bad grades. I never get good appreciation. Nobody loves me. That's a generalization that we did. And third thing, it was delete. All the good things we'll delete. We'll keep only the negative things, and that will stop us from getting the meaning that we want in our life. So that was the second part of it where he talks about emotions control and determine the quality of our life. And the third one is why we do what we do. We're gonna take this as the 6 human needs. This is the next one. But everything we do in our life has a reasons. And he said there are in total 6 human needs that we want to fulfill. And once we fulfill that, that's where we achieve satisfaction. That is where we feel we are doing great in life. And this is what is the third lesson. Thanks Wolfgang for joining. Let's talk about the lesson number 3, which is the 6 needs. So Tony Robbins, based on his research, he says that all of us as humans have 6 needs. There are 4 primal needs and there are 2 spiritual needs. So anybody wants to guess what are those primal needs and what are those spiritual needs?
Food, air, and house, primal need.
Okay. Anybody else? And that is directly part of one of the needs. Absolutely right, Yash. Alright, let me share that. So he talks about the 4 primal needs. The first need is attention, okay, health, wealth, money, relationship, great awake, okay. So the first primal need is certainty, which is where what Yash was telling about. We need to have certainty that we are going to have a lunch or dinner in our plate. We need to have certainty that if it is raining outside, which actually is raining in UK right now, in my place, I am dry, I have a safe place where I can live. So that is the first need where we need to have certainty. We know that we have family, we can rely on that, we have teams, we have community members. That is our first need. The second primal need is, how many of you feel that this is getting boring, monotonous, and I'm not getting the flavor, this is not good. And this is where the second needs come, that is called the need for uncertainty and variety. Right, so if you have little bit of uncertainty, one is the basic certainty where you need to have food and you need to have place and other things, but then you need variety. What is there in the food today? Is it the same as yesterday? If yes, that is boring, that is not meeting my needs. So you need to have certain variety and uncertainty. What is the next challenge that I'm looking to? What is the new job that I'm looking forward to? So that is the second need that we're looking to. The third need is the need of influence. Are we having influence over others? Are we able to persuade people? This is the third need that we have as a social animal, as humans. And the fourth one is the need for connections and love. How many of you agree that if we have the 1, 2, 3 but we don't have any connection, we don't have any love, we will be more like very dry person, will not have any zeal for the life. Awesome. But he says that these 4 primal needs are there with everyone. But if you want to take your game to the next level, where you do not care about how you look, where you do not care about what you are getting, this is where you need to get through 2 spiritual needs. The first spiritual need, or need number 5, is the need of growth. The reason you come every week here is because you're getting something to grow. You're learning something, you are practicing something. The reason I come here every Sunday and practice with you, because I feel when I'm with you guys, I am growing. And that is one of our spiritual needs. Now Primal needs is at the bottom, but if you go to the spiritual needs, that's where it transcends. It takes you to the next level. And the 6th one, which is probably one of the reasons you are part of this community, is the need of contribution. How many of you have ever done any charity, any contribution, whether it's money, effort or anything, and have felt really, really good about it? You can raise your hand. Awesome. Awesome. Why do you think you feel so good about feeling doing any charity or any contribution. You're actually losing something which is very clear to you. Yes, Anushka, you want to say something?
To see someone else happy because you have done something is a good feeling in general.
Absolutely. Exactly. So this is catering to our spiritual need. When we contribute without expecting anything in return, without expecting any money, without expecting any fame, without expecting anything, that's where our spiritual needs are fulfilled. And it was very, very interesting because he made us go through the exercises, and I myself went through the exercises to see what were my needs before this session. And I'm happy to share with all of you my primary needs were, or my two. He said, pick up your two needs. And when I did my own analysis and went through my own life journey, two of my needs were, one for the variety, and the other one was for connections. And then we went through the exercises and we learned so much, and then our needs change. And this is where he asked us to choose our two of our new needs, two of our new needs that we are going to focus in life. And I'm happy to share that I've chosen contribution and connection and love, because I feel those two values, those two needs are the one that I need to go to the next level, that I need to take you guys to the next level. So that is, I wanted to share with you very candidly, and I know people are watching on Facebook as well, and I have no calm about that. So that was the concept of 6 human needs that we have. 4 are primal, which is certainty, uncertainty, variety, influence, connection and love. And the other 2 spiritual needs are need for growth and need for contribution. Then he talks about, and this is this is where I'm gonna ask you to also answer that. Why do you think people who are at the top level, you would have seen so many examples, there are CEO, there are multi-billionaire, there are actors, big time actors, a lot of them go on and take some steps that nobody should take. Many of them go on and do suicide, many of them go into severe depression. Why do you think they do that? What do you think is the ultimate failure? You can unmute yourself and guess also.
Lack of balance in their life.
Lack of balance.
There is excess of one segment, like name, fame, money, but they lack connections and spiritual needs.
Awesome. Very close. Anushka and Ranjit says missing love. So I'm gonna give you the answer, and he says the ultimate failure for anyone is the success without fulfillment. If you're not fulfilling what you are really meant to be, then even if you are super duper successful, you'll feel like failure. He gave so many examples of actors, CEOs who couldn't contain themselves and went on to do suicides and other things, and the reason is the same. They were not fulfilled from inside. And if you're not fulfilled from inside, no matter how much you achieve outside, you'll not feel joy, you'll not feel that ultimate feeling of satisfaction from inside. And the reason I'm sharing it here, and this was bulb on for me, is a lot of us get into the rat race. A lot of us get into that, okay, I need to get the next big job, get the next big salary, get the next big college, get the next big entrepreneur venture. But is that giving us fulfillment? And if not, what can we do to get that fulfillment? It may or may not happen from that directly, but what can do? For me, doing these sessions and interacting with you all guys and reaching out and learning about storytelling and sharing about this gives me fulfillment. And how I discovered that, I'm gonna probably take a second to talk about how I discovered that it's giving me fulfillment. Was, I think it was probably around 1.5 year back. And many of you know I am a morning person. I wake up very early, and that was that one day I woke up around 5 a.m. and from 6 a.m. in the morning to up till 5 p.m. or 6 p.m. I was sitting on my chair. Today I'm standing, but I was sitting on my same chair, back to back meetings and sessions and workshops and attending. And by the end of it, I was not feeling exhausted. I was physically tired. I was having back pain and other things, but I was not excited. I was ready to go on for another 2-3 hours. And then when I thought about it next day, that gave me the bulb on moment, the hindsight that yes, if something I can do for 10, 11, 12 hours and still not feel tired, yeah, maybe this is my calling. Maybe this is where I should head towards. So I want you to think about, if you don't do anything today after this session, take out some time tonight, tomorrow, or during the next week and think about that one thing that you are really, like Ranji said, passionate about, that gives you fulfillment. It could be a hobby, it could be something that you do for your profession, it could be anything. And the next thing you think about is how can you do more of that? Well, let me tell you, if you find out that and you start doing that, I can see Anushka is smiling, I can see Yash is thinking how can do that, and this is what comes, the inner joy comes out. I would love to see your guys' faces. If you are able to keep your videos on, that would be great, because that helps me capture what is going on. So thank you so much for switching on your video. I hope you are getting some value out of today's session. Awesome. So let's talk about, we talked about the ultimate failure, and the next lesson is what is the ultimate success formula. Tony Robbins in his session talks about 5 steps that you can take to become ultimate success. And those steps are, I'm gonna go in the order. The first step is know your outcome. What do you really want to achieve? He says that clarity is power. If you know what you're getting into, if you know what you're going to do, that gives you a lot of confidence from inside. And that is the first step towards success. The second step is know your reasons. Why you do what you do. Right? You would have heard that TED talk. Simon Sinek, I think I have the book somewhere on my, yes, I have the book here. Highly recommended if you have not read the book called Start With Why. And he talks about, and if you're not read, go ahead and read this book. He talks about whenever Apple releases a new phone, or Ford makes a new car, or any new brand comes, and if they're clear about why they are doing what they're doing, they are sure to have success. And that is why the second step that Tony also talks about, which I found very relatable to what Simon Sinek said, that know your why. Knowing why is a must. Number 3, no guess on that, take massive action. It's not action, massive action, going after whatever you really want to do. If you have clarity, if you know your reason, then go after. But sometimes what happens, you still take action, you do not get results, and this is where you do this. Know what you're getting. Basically measure your success. If you're doing something and you're not getting the result, you don't have to do that again, but you have to measure. And the fifth and final step is change your approach. No, it's very it was great to hear from him. I've seen his videos before, and he said that no, if you are coming to me and saying that I have tried everything in life, you are lying. Because there is something you can try, and if that doesn't work, you can try something else. If that doesn't work, try something else. That doesn't work, try something else. But if somebody comes and says I have tried everything in life, that means that person is lying. There's always, you can try something else. Good to see you, Ranjit. So this is the 5th step that you can take to have ultimate success. So this was the 5th lesson that I learned. Lesson number 6, and that is the pyramid of mastery. So a lot of you were talking about money, success and growth and all, and he actually gives a very good pyramid in the book, and he also explained. So I'm gonna go actually reverse way to take you. So 7th is the base of the pyramid, and then it will go on, and the first one is the peak. So the 7th one is the physical body, where you are able to nourish your body, where you're able to be illness free, where you're able to have no problem with your body. That's the first level of your growth. The second level of growth is when you are able to manage your emotions and get a meaning out of whatever you're doing. So that is the 6th level, or second from bottom level. The 5th one is relationship. If you can master your relationship, and relationship doesn't always mean your spouse and others, it's also about your community relationship, it's also about your work relationship, it's also about who do you interact when you go out. If you are able to master your relationship, that's where the growth happens. The 4th one is the time, wherein you are able to utilize your time in doing the things that you really want to do. So that's the 4th one. The 3rd one is when you can have growth in your work, in your career, in your mission, based on if you're a working professional or entrepreneur, you're running a charity, whatever it is, that is the 3rd highest in the pyramid. The 2nd one is when you have the financial independence, when you don't have to look at your wallet whenever you have to make a decision. That's your pyramid of mastery. And the ultimate one is where you are able to celebrate and contribute. So those are the 7 areas or 7 levels of the growth if you want to have an extraordinary life. All right, I hope you guys are enjoying the session, learning anything. Awesome, good to see you. Okay, before I proceed, I wanted to do some show off. No, I just wanted to share. I thought I'll share that. So I got this online certificate, and I thought I'll print it. I'm not a person who generally prints the certificate, but I thought I'll do this one. So I got 2 certificates printed. This one is for attending the Unleash the Power Within, and there's one more certificate which is, I put it on Facebook and everyone, but I thought, okay, I'll share this one. This was on the day 1. We had the fire walk, and how many of you would be scared of walking on burning coal? I was the same, but it was his deep gratitude to Tony and the whole team, the way he programmed our mind. Almost 90 to 95%. That's amazing, Avik. I didn't know that. 90 to 95% people say, oh, is it over? Is it done? And this is where he says that if you can master your emotions, if you can just channelize what you're looking towards, what you're focusing on, you can achieve anything. And that has certainly broken a lot of limiting beliefs I had internally, and I'm sure it has inspired you also, that you can take on the world if you have the right intention. So that was just a mid-break to show off, but more importantly to inspire you. So let's go on to talk about the 7th lesson that I learned from attending the Tony Robbins UPW, and that is the power of a team. Now this seems very obvious, but it has got deep meanings, right? The 3 basic principles, the 3 things that he talk about when it comes to the power of team is, number 1 is, if you want to achieve wealth, if you want to achieve true happiness, you need to become a team player. You cannot, if you want to go fast, this is the same quote you would have, if you want to go fast, go alone, but if you want to go far, go together. So if you want to achieve wealth, if you want to achieve happiness, you need to become a team player. When you become team player, this will unlock this abundance of wealth, abundance of happiness. Second one, and I'm pretty sure many of you would have felt that, but it's good when you see it in your eyes, and that is, people will do more for others than they will ever do for themselves. How many of you agree that you can go on and contribute more, but when it comes to you, you're like, yeah, it's okay, I can do that. And this is where, if you become a part of a team, a part of a mastermind, a part of a community, you will automatically do more than what you will do alone for yourself. And the third one, which is crucial, is who you spend your time with is who you become. Jim Rohn says that you are the average of top 5 people you spend the most time with. You would have also heard the quote that if you are the smartest person in the room, you are in the wrong room. So that is why it is very, very important to be part of a group which challenges you, which asks you questions, which pushes you, because this is where the real growth happens. So very, very important that think about who are the people you are spending the more time with, and are they really helping you progress towards what you want to achieve, or progress against what you want to achieve. And this was very enlightening for me as well, because if many of you would have probably read my book, the very first chapter that I wrote in the book is also about the power of association. Who do you spend the time with? Who do you sit with? Who do you talk to? It really changes and shapes your life and your destiny. Let's talk about the 8th lesson, or the third last lesson. I've got a bonus as well, as always. So, the magic of rapport. What do I mean by rapport? Now, anytime you meet somebody, anytime you have a meet and greet session, anytime you have a new interaction, this is where the power of rapport comes up. So he talks about that there are 3 forms of communication. Honestly, this was not something that I did not know, and many of you would already be knowing. But with his examples, with his story, it becomes much more clear. And said the 3 forms of communication is, first one is our words, because words are power, what we say matters. The second one is how we say, our voice quality, our tone, our intonation, our pace, how much we are taking the pause. And the third one is our physiology. Many of you would have heard that body language, the way you project yourself, the way you put your hands, the way you put your shoulders, the way you make functional gestures, that are the 3 forms of communication. It was great to hear about him. And this is something that you might not have heard when it comes to rapport, and that is matching and mirroring. So have you heard, any of you have heard the concept called matching and mirroring? I'll stop share and see if anybody wants to. Have any of you heard the term matching and mirroring?
Sir, it may be like the person which is talking to you, you are just repeating the last sentence or last common thing which he is talking about, and so that we can come at the same place of thoughts, and it becomes easy for us to close the deals.
Okay, very good. Okay, Jalalji, you also unmuted. You want to add something?
Sorry. Maybe matching is the audience, what their needs are, and mirroring them is giving them what they really want at the end of the day. I have a very bad reception. I'm sorry, I'm not following properly.
That's all right. That's completely fine. Thank you for sharing. Okay, Monica ji, yeah, you want to share something?
Well, number one, I think so. I can see the difference of the Tony Robinson workshop on you. There's a remarkable change in your approach. That's number one. Number two, rightly said, there are a lot of things out there when we have to go ahead. Team player, surely. In today's time, you have to be a team player, no doubts about it. Clarity of thought has to be there. If you do not have a clarity of thought, I don't think so you can somewhere go ahead. Communication, surely. The communication has to be a two-way communication. That's how it is. That's how you really move forward for. And also, using which modes do you use? What is your mode out there? And the mode, whichever it's been utilized, you have to be confident about.
Okay, I think you went on mute, Monica ji. Yeah.
We'll talk about it.
Awesome. So, almost all of you are right. And when it comes to matching and mirroring, and this is where he talks about when you want to build a rapport, if I bring that to the core topic. And this is where you say that when you are meeting somebody, this is the core concept. People like people who are like themselves or who are like how they would like to be. Right? If you like somebody, you start behaving that person. Right? How many of you say people used to go and cut their hairs because of their favorite actors? That is also called of matching and mirroring. So basically, we love to be in the company of people who are like us. And when it comes to first time meeting somebody, initially the styling is more important, which means that when it comes to sales, when it comes to building rapport, matching and mirroring is if somebody is making certain gestures, you also start matching the gestures, making the similar gestures. If somebody is sitting, you also sit. If somebody is standing, you also slowly stand. If he's speaking slow, you also speak slow. If that person is very energetic and speaking very fast, you also try to match that. And this is where the rapport builds. And there are different types of people. There are people who are visual people who like to say, okay, I see this thing, I don't see this is happening. They'll use a lot of visual words. There are auditory people who will say, yeah, this sounds good, it doesn't ring a bell, let me just play it again to my ears. And the third one is the kinesthetic one, who will say, okay, it doesn't feel good. They are more of a feeling person. It doesn't feel good, let me get a sense of it. So if you know these are the three types of people, when you talk to them, you talk in the way they are talking. If they are talking about visual, you talk about visuals. If they are auditory, you talk in auditory. How does that sound to you? Versus saying, what does it look like? Right? These are very subtle things, but when you start incorporating, or first thing happens when you start observing, that is where it will make a difference. So there is another exercise for all of you, because you're here, is when you go back and when you're talking to anyone, think about what are the words that you use. Are you using the visual words? Are you using the auditory words? Or are you using the kinesthetic words? Now all of us have all three, but typically we have one which is primary. I think to me, mostly it is the sounds is very good, and probably the second one is the kinesthetic one. I want to do that, I want to feel that. Third one is probably seeing. So when you know that what is for you, you can very well start analyzing what is it for others by just observing the choices of their words, and this will help you plan and build your rapport. So that was matching and mirroring. Let's go on to the second last one, and that is 3 principles of mastery. Now that was completely mind-blowing, and why I say mind-blowing is we actually experience that. And the 3 principles are: number 1 is modeling the masters. Learn from the best of the best. When I attended this, I had no idea how many people are coming, what we are going to do, and this is where I think I did one thing good in 2023 is learn from the best. That is, you model the masters. The second one is, if you want to become master in something, is immersive learning. Now let me tell you, those 4 days, you might be thinking it was a typical sessions. The day 1 started around 10:30 a.m. and it went on. I reached home back at 1 a.m. in the morning. So it was around 14 to 15 hours of deep, intensive learning experience. And the best part was, even at 1 a.m., I was not tired. I was still excited about it. And I had just done, at midnight we did the firework, and I was still excited. It took me probably 45 minutes to actually calm down and get to a sleep, and then I again woke up 6 a.m. next day. This is the power of immersive. The second day was again 12 hours. Third day was again around 10 to 11 hours. Fourth day was again around 9 to 10 hours. And in that 4 week, we learned about 55 hours in 4 days. And this is what he says, that now if you do something 1 hour every week versus you condensed all of those 55 hours in 3 or 4 days, your growth or your difference will be massive. So if you want to learn something, immersed into it. Don't question how long the session is going. Don't question what is it gonna take. Just get into it. So that was the second concept. And what's very important was the third one, and that is called spaced repetition. When you repeat things after a little bit of gap. And what they did was, I was so grateful to them. The session ended on Sunday, and then Tuesday they sent an email that we are going to have an action workshop for people who attended, and they did another mini recap of the session on Wednesday. They had there's a space in between from Monday, Tuesday, and then they did another repeat of that. If you are taking a session, think about how you can take a space, take a break, and then repeat that. This is where that goes down. So number 1 is modeling the master. Number 2 is immersive learning, and number 3 is the spaced repetition. Let's talk about the 10th and the final lesson. And this is basically a life lesson for all of us. And I'm also going to share what changes I have done since I attended, because it's good to learn, but what good it is when you don't implement something. So in this one, and I'm gonna also encourage you all to see what all you can do. Certainly you are the master of your own life, you are the CEO of your life, but see what all you can do. So number 1, he talks about vitality. How do you, and this was amazing, you might have seen 2 guys on video and all. There are 2, do you know there are 2 types of ages we have. One is our age from the time we are born, but our body also have a age, and you can actually go and check it, and you can see you may be 40 years old, but your body may be 50 years old, or it may be 30 years old. The more you can keep your body onto the lower side, yes, biological age, absolutely right. The more you can keep your biological age lower, the more vital you can. No. How many of you know what is the actual age of Tony Robbins? Any guesses? Okay, let me share that. Pretty close. 63 years. And he's on the stage 12 to 14 hours for 2 days out of the 4 days, and completely shouting out of his lungs and having energy to hold 10,000 people in the space. Incredible. And that's because he has really championed this vitality point. There was another guy who was presenting, and everybody thought he's probably 50 or something. His name is Joseph McClendon III, and he said in next couple of months he's going to turn 70, and I could see everybody's mouth because he looks like 50. And so how can you master that is by using these principles. So this is very, very practical stuff that we all can use. So let's go with that. Out of these there are 8 gifts and 4 poisons. So gifts are something that you take, and poisons are something. Does Tony have a happy life? I am pretty sure he has a fulfilled life, happy life. I am not sure. Maybe he has. I think if you are fulfilled, you are able to impact billions of people, then definitely you'll call yourself a happy. I'm not Tony's spokesperson, so I do not know, but I think this is what he says. So let's talk about the 4 poisons first. The 4 poisons that can interrupt your vitality are: number 1, eliminate or reduce processed fat. Right, as much as possible, if you reduce the processed fat, it can lead to your vitality. Very obvious things, and most of these will be obvious things, but what is not obvious is how much we are taking action upon. The second poison is eliminate or reduce animal flesh. Many of you are, or maybe who are watching, are non-vegetarian. I have no judgments about that, but just do a research about how you're getting your animal flesh. Is it done properly, or there are a lot of other factors involved? And there were some some terrible videos shown over there. I'm not going to talk more about that, but just do a research about how you're getting your meat and other animal flesh or fish or anything, and is that really adding to your vitality, or it is a poison to your vitality. The third one was also about dairy products. Now, I'm a vegetarian, but I love dairy products, but this was an eye-opener for me to know how they take out the milk, how do they process the milk, how do they treat the animals when they are doing the dairy things. And I was talking about that. I'm going to share what I have done after this UPW. Is one of the things that I've started doing is I've not eliminated 100%, but I have certainly reduced even my dairy products. So I am a born vegetarian. I've never eaten directly any non-vegetarian thing, but I've now started going towards the vegan one, where I'm trying to reduce my dairy products as well, including milk, etc., etc. And the fourth one is eliminate or reduce the acid addictions. We all have these sugars, and there are so many white things which are basically creating acid that leads to acidity, and that leads to a lot of physical problems that we have. So if we can eliminate or reduce those acid addictors, that would be great. So those were the 4 poisons, and there are 8 gifts that if you start using in your life, you're gonna have vegan diet. Yes. If you use these gifts, that can lead to your vitality, that can make your life fulfilled. So the first one is power of vital breathing. Now, a lot of us, when we breathe, we are breathing only from the top 20% portion of our lungs. While that is a very stringed area, I'm not a physician or anything, but most of the time we are not taking deep breath. So I want you to actually go and research about what is a vital breathing, which is where you take some deep breath, and instead of moving your shoulders up and down, you actually breathe more from your tummy or belly area, and that will lead to your vitality. This is called lymphosizing. The second concept is the power of living water and live foods. Most of us don't drink enough water or have the right food, so that is the second gift. If we can give ourselves right water. The power of healthy fats and oil. A lot of time people are in those categories, 2 categories. One is they do not care about what they eat, or they'll eat any garbage, junk, anything. And there are others who think that all kind of fat and oil are bad. Actually, you need to focus on the healthy fat and oil. For example, the ones that you got from dry fruits, etc., etc. That can take and add to your vitality. The power of alkalinity. Now that was a new one for me, where he said that a lot of us are acidic by default, and the simple thing that we can do is when we are drinking water, at least once in a day, just put some lemon, just squeeze a lemon and have some drops of lemon in your water, and that will add to your alkalinity, that will help you become better and vital. The next one is the power of aerobic energy. How many of you exercise? Now, I admit I was not doing many exercise before. I am an on and off gym person, but I think many of you would remember last time I came into the mastermind session, I shared that I've rejoined the gym. I'm now working on, and this gave me a new inspiration to go back to gym, to work on it. And it doesn't have to go to gym, spend 1 hour. It could be just walking for 30-40 minutes on a brisk walk is also very, very healthy. You don't have to join gym like me and others. You can do something that adds to your aerobic energy. The sixth one is the power of maximum nourishment, where you are having lot of fruits, lot of vegetables, sorry about that, lot of fruits, lot of vegetable versus just eating raw processed meat and other dairy products. Second last one is structural alignment. So this one is another new term, which is where when you stand up and you take a picture of you, and there were actually stalls where people were taking pictures, and they will tell that you are probably 3 degrees towards left or you are 4 degrees towards right. When you stand straight and look at your structural alignment, are you aligned? Are you in balance from both sides? And also, are you balanced from front and back? If that is not happening, you have to start doing some exercise, strength training to have that structural alignment. Very, very important. And the last one is the power of a directed mind and heart. Now, we have already discussed this many times that if we are not working on our mindset, we are probably not making the best use of the best machine in the world, which is our mind. And for that to get to the maximum potential, we need to practice meditation. I'm actually going to share in the group a link of an exercise called priming, which Tony Robbins does, and he made us go through. It's about 15-minute long meditation exercise where he talks about gratitude, where he talks about the love and connection, and I found it really, really useful. So I'm going to share the link in the community for you to also go through and experience. I saw that it was available publicly for everyone, so I'm going to share that with you. So how many of you, I'm going to stop share, how many of you found today's session very, very helpful, very, very useful? Awesome. Thank you. There is one bonus left, and this is where you're gonna be mind blown with what I'm going to share, and that is, let me just minimize all of this, and I'll share the PDF of this with you. If you have not been able to take the notes, don't worry about it. I'll share the quote. Now, why we are here? We are here because we are passionate about the concept of storytelling. And let me tell you, on those 4 days that I was listening to Tony, the one thing that I realized is the power of storytelling. For every concept, for everything that he shared, he had an emotional story. Sometimes he had a hilarious story. And that made me so happy, that made me so excited, that if I'm learning from the masters of master, I am at the right place and I am doing the right thing. And I'm so happy for all of you, because we collectively here are working towards something which is magical. I could at least get 15 to 20 different stories for every concept. For every concept he had a story, for every concept, and this is what I found so amazing. So I've observed it, and anyways, I'm a storytelling coach. I keep observing it everywhere, but I want you also, as part of the Confidence Storytelling Hub, start to develop this habit of observing the stories people tell, because as you know, facts tell, stories sell. If we just remove the stories that Tony had, I'm very sure the impact that we had would be much less than what we had, because now also I was looking to my notes before the session and I had noted down, okay, this was one story, this was another story, this was another story. So whenever you go and listen to great speakers, the one thing that you must do is observe the stories that they're telling. If you can do that, the first step in becoming a confident storyteller is to become a deep observer of stories that people tell. So that was my lessons that I learned from attending the Unleash the Power Within of Tony Robbins. I'm so excited. Thank you so much everyone for joining. From next week we are gonna restart our Storytellers Gym. So I'm gonna share the link, but any of you, this is for our members, any of you, if you want to come and practice and get live valuable feedback for your storytelling, next week is your chance. We're gonna have 3 slots, and if you join, you're gonna get live feedback not only from me as a coach but also from your fellow members. So I'm gonna now ask some of you, what were your biggest takeaway, 1 or 2 takeaway from today's sessions? So let's go round the room. I'm gonna ask Ranjit first. Yeah, Ranjit, what was your biggest takeaway from today's session?
Biggest takeaway was that I have to go forward whatsoever situation is, because life is going to be same. It is situation will not change. It is your perception, how you are perceiving it, and I am going to remove all my fears from that to move ahead.
Awesome. Let's give a big round of applause to Ranjit. Awesome. Jalalji, what was your biggest takeaway from today's session?
Thank you. It was amazing. Although I had very bad connection, I got cut off a lot, but I've learned so much, especially about the health part. And when I asked about Tony, if he was happy, I meant if he is working for so long, does he spend quality time with his family? Because this is my main thing. My story to success is that my wife told me, don't come home 5 days a week. But on the weekends, these are family days, they're quality time. So I just wanted to share this with everybody, because, people can work a lot and then they don't have a happy family life. Thank you, Haritosh.
Thank you so much. Thank you. And yeah, I did see that he shared something about going with family in Italy and some ice cream parlor. I am not snooping on his life, but I assume he's having some quality time. So thank you for sharing your perspective. All right. Next, we're gonna go to Anushka. What was your biggest takeaway for today's session?
It was point number 7, where we talk about being a team player. And I'm not a team player, I'll admit it openly. I like working alone, I like working fast. But now that I've come through this concept and I really am seeing the value in it, I'm going to work on it. I'm going to see how can I be a better team player.
Awesome. You have already have the realization. That is the first step in becoming a great team player. Awesome.
Thanks.
Yash, you're welcome.
Yeah, for me, there are a few key takeaways from this session. First, the fear. I think this is the biggest blockage all of us feel. We should not fear about anything, and we should take our chances. Second, also the clarity of the goals, because most of the times we spend our time, but we don't know the clarity that why we are doing and where we are going to land. That is also another. And of the third most obvious reason is the physical health. If you are healthy, then you can focus more and then you can contribute more towards your goals. But if you are sick or your body is not up to that mark, then most of the time you will feel lazy. And team contribution, team player is also a thing. And the last key point is the storytelling. I think for the reason where we all of us here is that, and I like your quote that facts only tell, but the stories sell. So you should have all the stories. If you are narrating something or if you are doing something, you should have a story behind it. So these are the few takeaways for me.
Awesome, Yash. Awesome, amazing. And yeah, there was one Indian proverb he said specifically that related to the physical and body part. He said that no, the healthy person has many desires, but the person who is not healthy has only one desire, and that was mind blowing. Okay, let's move on to Monica ji. Monica ji, what were your key takeaway?
Well, there were a lot of key takeaways today. Session was real. I would simply say today was out there. He couldn't get away from the session itself. It was indeed a very informative one. Yes, key takeaways, I would say, starting away from the clarity of thought, what you really want to do. Because I would simply say, yes, being into the middle, now into the senior career crisis. So you have that, typical stagnancy and monotonous things come into the thing because you've tried so many things. But then, yes, I would I really liked it where you had quoted out there that no, you should not say that you've tried everything. There's still something there which you've not, something is there which you've not tried. You have to find those things.
You have to find, true.
So that's one thing. And the other part is focus. I would say yes, if you are focused towards your goal, and for that part you have to be healthy, you have to maintain yourself. And because of today's busy, I would talk about is more today is our life is more of a mechanical life.
True, so true.
So in this mechanical life, if we tend to keep ourselves healthy, both sides, it's physical as well as our eating habits, if we keep a control on it, I think the sky is the limit.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing that. All right, last but not the least, Manvi, what were your key takeaways?
Okay, so sharing one or two takeaways would not be fair to the 1 hour session, but still the points that I noted and I loved were if we train our mind, we can achieve anything and everything, and that too in any specific age. So if we have to be strong-minded instead of being strong-hearted. And along with that, there were almost everyone shared about health and everything. One thing that I noted about was association. Mm-hmm. There was a quote mentioned in between that if we are the smartest people, I am the smartest person in the room, maybe I am in the wrong room.
Absolutely.
So we have to associate ourselves with people who help us grow, and that only will help us achieve what we want to. So that were the main points that I took over with me.
Awesome, Manvi. And just adding to what you said, the reason every time we have this storytellers gym, I tell that I do not want these two kind of feedback. One is where we have the sugar coated feedback, you are amazing, you are awesome, you are perfect, you don't have anything. And the other extreme is where people say, oh, this was bad, the worst story, this was nothing that took upon. Both of these are wrong. We can always find something good in what people say, and we can always give them areas of improvement. And that leads back to the same concept where we as a group, as a mastermind, want to challenge each others in a positive way, in a gentle way, so that next time when somebody performs, they're doing better, they're leading towards excellence versus just staying at what they are. And there was another quote that I heard, this is from another mentor, and surprise, something amazing is coming in September. So I had some checklist for the year, and I'm so happy things are being working out. So I'm not gonna share the surprise. Whenever that happens, you'll have another special session. So you can keep waiting. I'm gonna keep that dopamine going. But he says that if you are at the quote goes something like that, even if you are in the right line, but if you're not taking action, you're gonna be run over, which is the importance of having growth and learning more. So thank you so much everyone for joining, and those of you who are watching on Facebook Live, feel free to put your comments into what your takeaways they are. Feel free to put that in the Facebook as well. Thank you so much everyone for joining. As I say every time, until next time, keep learning, keep growing, and keep going out of your comfort zone. This is Coach Haritosh Srivastav. I'm going to see you for my community next week in the mastermind session. And for all of you out there, I'm going to see you soon somewhere on the social media. Take care, stay safe, and stay blessed.